Hey, second grade art friends, it's Mrs. Herbay. This week we're going to do something fun. You guys studied butterflies earlier this year, and so I'm going to teach you guys a little technique called the blotted line technique, where we're going to actually create butterflies using black paint. Now, one important characteristic about butterflies is that they have symmetry, which means they look the same on both sides. And oftentimes in drawing, that's really hard to achieve. So we're going to do something fun today that's going to allow you to create a symmetrical butterfly with not a lot of trouble. And you can apply this to pretty much anything. So in your packet, you should have gotten 2 sheets of this 12 by 18 paper. It's folded in half. We're going to end up opening it up. Okay, and then the second thing you got was this little container of paint. And if you have your brush left over from glazing or the watercolor, you can use that. Or if you have just another kind of paintbrush that's not super thick, you can use that. Okay, you're also going to need a paper towel just in case things get a little bit messy, although they shouldn't. And you're going to need, like I said, your black paint. So go ahead, gather everything up, and then I'll explain the first step. All right, guys, so the first step is take the lid off your paint. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to your sink, and I just want you to put like 3 drops of, well, maybe 3 or 4 drops of water into your paint. Not a lot, because we don't want the paint to be too runny, but we want to dilute the paint just a tad, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. All right, guys, so just to give you an idea, I'm at my sink. And I just have a really thin stream of water going here. It's like barely coming out. I'm going to even turn it back a little bit. Okay. And so what you want to do is you just want to take your cup and you just want to go, let me try to center this. I'm trying to do this one-handed. You just want to go in and then out. Okay. And that's pretty much all that we're going to do. Okay. So go ahead and do that. All right, guys, now that we have a little bit of water here in the cup, what we're going to do is we're going to stir this up. Now, there's a number of things you can use to stir it up. You can use a utensil from your kitchen, but if your mom and dad aren't keen on that, you can always take the handle of your paintbrush and just stick it in the paint. And what I want you to do is just kind of stir that up a little bit. We just want the paint to be a little bit runnier, but not a ton runnier. Okay, so I've got that mixed up. And so the way you'll know is now the paint's a little bit, when I kind of tilt the lid, the paint kind of moves around a little bit. And then what you can do is you can just go to the sink. I'm going to go to the sink. I'm going to just rinse this off and dry it off. Okay. All right, guys, we're ready to paint. So what we're going to do is we're going to be painting half of the butterfly. And then what's going to happen is as we paint half, then we're going to then rub on where we painted, and it's going to transfer that paint onto the other side of the paper, thus making the butterfly symmetrical. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to grab your paintbrush and your paint, and we're just going to stick our brush in the paint kind of like a ballerina, just the tiptoey part. We don't need a whole ton. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the butterfly's head, and you want to come down a little bit on your paper because you want to leave room for your antenna. So I'm just going to paint half of a circle right here, like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to fold our paper in half, and I'm just going to massage right where I painted that, just kind of like that. And then we're going to see what happened. Hey, check it out, it transferred over. Now you'll notice it didn't transfer over completely solidly, and that's okay. And what you can do is you can either leave it because you like the way it looks, or you can just fill in that a little bit. Okay, and again, I'm just gonna rub like that. Okay, so there we go. There's our head. And then you guys know then the butterfly has an abdomen. So I'm just going to kind of paint out like that. And then I'm just going to paint down a little bit further. And you don't need a lot of paint on there, and you want to work fairly quickly because you don't want the paint to dry. So there we go. There is my body, half of the body. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the paper, and again I'm going to give it a nice massage where I just painted. And voila. So you'll find you're going to get some interesting little shapes depending on if there was more or less paint on your on the part of the paper that you're squeezing. And part of the sort of unfinishedness adds to the character of this blotted line printing technique. So you don't have to get yourself too worried about if it's not exactly solid. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to do the butterfly's antennas. So I'm going to paint up like that. And again, you can make it whatever style antenna you want. Then I'm going to just rub right where that antenna is. And there, voila, now I have another antenna. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a curved line that's going to go start at the body, and then it's going to go up to this corner. And one of the things that helps that is if you put a dot up where you want to go to. So I'm just going to put a little dot there. And again, I can rub. Okay, now I have my dot on the other side. But what it does is it kind of helps my eye to see where I want to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, and then I'm just going to curve up to that dot there. Okay, and if you feel like, oh, I didn't get quite enough paint, you can do one more swipe with your brush. Okay, then we're going to massage that line. And hey, check that out. Got the same exact line there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come about halfway down the abdomen. So you can see I have about, this is about my halfway point. And I'm just going to paint a horizontal line that comes out. But I'm not going to paint it the entire way out, as far out as there. I'm going to come out maybe to about that far. Okay? So you're going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to rub. If at any point I'm going too fast, what you can do is after I paint the line, you can just hit stop on the video and then do it and then hit play again, if that makes it a little easier for you. Every time I'm painting, I'm taking a dip in my paint pot and then I'm painting. So now this line is going to be a curved line. I think I'm going to make it kind of curve in and then go back out. And sometimes it helps if you just do it in the air without actually painting it, because it kind of gives you the idea of what you want to do. And I can see it was running out a little bit of paint, so I'm going to put a little bit more paint on my brush. And there's my curved line. And then I'm just going to massage that line. There's the other half. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then from this point here, I'm going to curve down to this corner. Okay. And again, if you want it to come down, you can make it come down as far as you want it to. I'm going to put, again, a little dot right here, because that's, oops, you can't see it. I'm going to put a little dot right here so that you guys can see. It's going to help me as I curve down to that line. So again, I just have my paint. Curving down to that line like that. And there we go. And it's a little bit light, but again, I can go back and I can touch that up. Then I'm going to think about how I want to curve down to there. And then again, I'm just dipping my paint, starting maybe right about here. Painted that line. There's my other line. Okay, now we're going to add just a few more details to our butterfly. So what we're going to do next is we're going to paint a parallel line next to this other line here. And my brush seemed a little dry as I got down there, so I dipped it in a little more paint. And then I'm going to massage again. There's the other side. And then I'm going to come here and same thing, I'm going to do another line that's parallel, like right there. And this type of printing technique is very sort of fluid and free, so don't get yourself all hung up on having it be exactly perfect. It will be wonderful however you do it. And then what we're going to do is up here, we're going to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then again, I'm going to go massage, 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 massage. And then I'm going to do it again. Here I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, depending on how you drew yours or painted yours, you may not have space for that many, and that's okay. This just kind of gives you an idea. That's how many I had room for. Then the next thing we can do is we're going to add the butterfly's veins. And so we're just going to kind of divide up the butterfly's wing into some parts. So what you can do is you can just start, I'm just going to make a curved line like that. And then I'm just going to massage. And then I'm just going to do like a line down there. And maybe a line up there. And maybe one right there. And these are all up to you. You do not have to do your lines how I did my lines. You can kind of decide, and you can kind of see how this one squished up a little bit more. And if that's really bugging you, what you could do is you could just, I can sort of make this line thicker. So I'm just going to take my paint, make that a little thicker, and then I'll just massage it again. And then you can see how it kind of blended in a little more. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here where I'm just going to kind of do a wavy line up. And then I'll just massage it. And then I'll just do a line coming over here and a line there. And then I'll massage those two lines. Okay. Now my butterfly is pretty well done. If you wanted to make it more intricate, you could by adding more lines and dividing up the wings even more. Like if let's say I said, okay, I want to do one here. Or do one there. Oops. Maybe I'll just do it like that. So yeah, it's totally up to you. How many you want to do. Okay? And then when you're finished, what you can do is, if you really want to, you can go back and I can just carefully kind of fill in the parts that were a little bit light with my brush. And again, I'm just taking a little bit of paint just filling that in a little bit. But again, you don't have to. It can be kind of part of and if you're concerned with it being symmetrical, when you paint this side, what you can do is just then massage it and paint the other side too. Or excuse me, and then it would transfer onto the other side too. So I'm just filling that in. And this one. Those. Okay. And I'm just going to touch up this one. One. And do my massage. Okay. And then you can see I have a little bit more over here. All right. And then I could keep filling that in. So then once you're done, what you want to do is you want to take your brush, wash it out with soap and water, and then you just want to leave this open in a nice place to dry. And then next week, I will talk to you guys about adding color to the butterfly. Here's another quick thing I just wanted to mention too. I gave you 2 pieces of paper. So let's say you do this one and you're like, it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted to. Well, you have a second piece of paper you can experiment with and do it again and see what you get. And if the paint seems like it's a little bit too thick, again, you can just add a tiny little bit of water and then stir it up. One of the things you probably don't want to do is have too much paint on your brush, because then what happens is when you have blobs of paint on your paper and then squeeze it, what happens is the paint goes everywhere. So you just kind of want a thin, even coat of the paint so you don't get kind of splotchy. But again, the splotchy is kind of cool, and it's part of the sort of imperfect characteristic of this type of printmaking. Okay. Any questions, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer them, and I'll look forward to talking to you guys on Thursday.